Hi guys, my name is Mr. Schultz and I will be taking you through question number 2 of the September 2024 Information Technology Paper 1 of the trial examination that was written earlier this week. Before we look at the code, and I want to provide you maybe with some alternative solutions to the questions. But I first want to take you through the paper. If you later on, when I look at the code and you see me looking down, it is because I also have the question paper with me, so that we don't have to go back and forth for different screens. So let's just quickly have a look at what is actually required and asked of us, and I'm going to give some hints of what to look out for. That will also help us as teachers to mark the paper correctly. But if you are a learner and you want to see where you can improve or in answering the questions, either way, I hope that this will be beneficial to you. So we are given information about a database with two tables, TBL members and TBL crypto, and we are also given an image of the actual interface with the two tables, and you can see the field names clearly in this image. Very important to note is that we are required to use SQL code for question 2.1 and Delphi code for question 2.2, and we're not allowed to use the other one in the other question. So if you use SQL code for question 2.2, you will not be awarded marks, or if you're a teacher, you're not allowed to award marks for these things. Also important to note is that we have to develop our code from first principle, which means we're not allowed to use the built-in methods of our database, such as record count or sort or locate. Things like that has to be written using code constructs that we write ourselves. We are provided with the two table names. In the back of the paper there's also tables and information, so that will help us if we tear it out. We don't have to page through, and we can use it as reference for our field names and table names. This is the interface for question 2.1, which will be answered first, and then we'll go to question 2.2. There are 6 questions in total. I've highlighted a couple of things here to take note. So question 2.1.1 asks us to display all fields. So now we can list all of them, but it is a lot quicker if we use the asterisk, which represents all fields, and then we are asked to sort it. Now here we have to remember that in order to sort, it is actually not called sorting but ordering in SQL, so we use the keyword order by. And here to note, from youngest to oldest, when it comes to dates, our youngest are the biggest numbers and oldest will be the smallest numbers. Hence we have to display in descending order, and the important is the spelling, D-E-S-C. I tend to always use the C before the S, although I'm not dyslexic, but for some reason, when it comes to spelling, if it doesn't work, then just turn those 2 letters around. Question 2.1.2 asks us to total all the cryptocurrencies together and then group them according to the crypto type. So when we ask to total something, we use the sum function. Sometimes it's confusing. When do you use sum? When do you use count? But a total will always be sum. If you count something, we will use count. I initially checked, is something to note. There's one decimal place, but actually, if you add up all the crypto amounts, we don't have to format this to one decimal. It is actually already like this in the database. So we can ignore this comment if I can delete it. But another note, we have to group it according to the crypto type. Then we are asked for question 2.1.3 to enter a month number, 1 representing January, 12 would represent December, and we have to now count how many of the members have their birthdays in that specified month. To note, very important, is it says here you may use our months is provided is a constant array that contains the names of the months in chronological order, January, February, March, etc. But we are not required to do that. What we are required to do is display the month name in the field title, which we can also accomplish by using the long months function or I think it's called long months names in our SQL statement. I will show you just now when we go through the paper. Question 2.1.4, we have to note this is the longest one. It also carries the most marks. So there's quite a number of things that is required of us. The first thing is we have to display information based on 2 tables. You will see surname and first name comes out of TBR members. Crypto type amount comes out of the crypto table, which means there is a condition where we have to link them. There's another condition where the value of the Litecoin will be 5,500, as well as the crypto type needs to be Litecoin. So we, in the end, have 3 conditions that we have to add. Another thing important to note is the display currency with 2 decimal places, as well as the field name, the temporary name that we have to give value, is actually a reserved word. So it is required to use the square brackets, just to take note of that. Question 2.1.5, very straightforward, asks us to delete all our Ripple entries, and there's nothing tricky about it if you know how to use the delete keyword in SQL. And then we have question 2.1.6, where we are asked to update with the condition of we only asked to update our Bitcoin crypto type, the amount we have to halve it, and we will do that. Very straightforward. Question 2.2 is now the Delphi code that we have to use for it. Question 2.2.1 asks us we receive an input, a surname as input, and then we have to loop through the data set and display. If we find the surname, we have to display the name, the surname, the email address, and the gender. If we do not find it, we have to display a message that said it was not found. And then the last question in this question 2 is 2.2.1, where we are asked to count the genders, the total members for each gender. So males, we have 26, female 22, gender fluid 1, and non-binary 1. And if the count of these 4 genders equals to 50, then our count was correct. If for some reason it adds up, like in this case there was a misspelling, it adds up to 28, that is not 50, then we will display incorrect, and we will there are probably different ways in which we can do that. I will show you how I would do it, and I think that is a pretty efficient way. All right, so let's get straight into it. I've got already Delphi open over here with our interface, and we start by selecting question 2.1.1, and we are asked to select. So the keyword here is select and we're using the asterisk because we are lazy. We don't want to type out all the field names. Select all, and we specify the table, TBL members, and then we have our ordering that we have to do. Order by date of birth. You can, the field name itself actually has capitalized letters of D, O, and B, but it is case insensitive, so sometimes it is a lot easier to just type date of birth. And now we have to do that in descending order. D, E, and C. I am now hoping that this is the correct spelling, and we can immediately test it. We can compile the program, and if I click on question 2.1.1, it now corresponds with the example of output that is provided to us in the paper. All right, so we close this. We can either scroll down now to question 2.1.2, otherwise you can also go back to your interface and then click on the button and it will take you to question 2.1.2. Now question 2.1.2 asks us to total up the amounts for the respective cryptocurrencies. So we are selecting the crypto type, and now because we're listing more than one thing, we separate it with a comma, and now we have to display the amount, but we have going to use an aggregate function called sum, and sum on the field amount, just like that. The table in this case is TBL crypto, and now we have to still group it. So if we use an aggregate function, we have to group according to that specific field. So the keyword here is group, if we can spell, group by, and then we will say by crypto type. And if we run this, we'll compile this quickly, and I'll press on question 2.1. You will see our display corresponds with the display in the paper. All right, now we can scroll down. Now we're getting to the question of where we enter a month. So this code is provided for us. We have an input box where we enter the month name, and this is given in S line. This is a variable, a string variable, and we have to note that our SQL itself is a string that is assigned to our to our SQL property. And if we use a string within a string or string variable, we have to put it outside that string. So I'll show you how to do that. We are asked to display the following. We have to count this time so we select count of birth dates, date of birth. I'm going to add the complete, the field name just now. No, let's do it right here, otherwise we'll get confused. So count date of birth as, and now we have our square brackets because it's more than one word, birthdays in. But now I want to add the actual corresponding name of the month. So we are given this array over here, constant array with the names. So how do we add this? So we are now closing. I'm still going to add this the space over here, but now we are closing the string because we have to now add something from from the outside. So we do a plus, and we can say R months square brackets, which one? String to int sline. So sline was the variable that we got, the number that was inputted through the input box. Now, for an index of an array, we need an integer. So we have to convert this string value of sline into an integer. So our month, now we have added it. But we still need to add the bracket back on that side. So now we are opening the string again, and we are closing it with the square bracket on that side. And now we can just continue. I will already, before I forget, close the string again here. But now we can say here from, and this, I just have to quickly see the birthdays, date of birth is from the members table. So it's TBL members. And now we still have a condition, because we only want to display and count where the birthday is in the month that was specified. So over here we will now add a where clause, where month of date of birth equals, and now again we are closing the date, and we say outside here equals sline. Now sline is an integer, so we don't have to add quotation marks or anything like that. So let's hope, this was a long one, so let's hope that when we compile it, it will actually display correctly. So it will ask me here, so in the example output they have January, June and October, so we use January now 1, and over here we have birthdays in January 2. If we click on it again and we use the other input 6 for June, it will say birthdays in June 7, and the last example that they give us is October, so we're using 10, birthdays in October 3, and all three of these displays correspond with the example that is given in the paper. Great, halfway through SQL, now comes the difficult one, with the two tables, and I will see if I can make it, show that we don't have to scroll back and forth over here. I will try to write it underneath each other. Okay, so here we are asked to display and to calculate the value. We are given a real value of 1339.30 for the exchange rate. And now we have to display the surname, the name of all the those who own the Litecoin. So we start by saying select surname, comma, spelling surname. Oh, that is spelled correctly. Surname, comma, first name, comma, crypto type, comma, amount, and now we have to calculate the value, and we were asked to display that as currency, so we have to add here a format function, format, and if it helps you, you can actually, the format has an open and a closed bracket. Where did I go now? There we go. Sorry about that. Format, we can already, what do we want to format and into what, so the value that we want to format, as well as the format itself. So the format in this case, we format it to currency, which we add at the end of the format function. So now we just have to add our value in here. Our value itself is a calculation between the amount times, so we use an asterisk over here, but now we have again a value that we want to from the outside, a real in this case. So we have to end our function over here plus our Litecoin. I sometimes, because my spelling is not the best, I simply copy and paste my variable in here. So amount times plus our Litecoin plus, and now we continue our string on this side. Let's quickly see, amount times that plus comma currency, and now we have to specify our name. And as I said, because value is a reserved word, sorry, we use the square brackets value, value over there. Now from, and we have two tables, so it's TBL members, and you can use what you can aliases. So I will call this one M, and we have TBL crypto, we call that C. And now we have our conditions, and there are three of them, where I like to use brackets. Sometimes they're not necessary, but let's do it right from the beginning, where M dot, and I think and now it's important that we actually look at the, I have that list somewhere over here, the relationship between the two tables. It's the mem ID. So mem ID equals C dot mem ID. So that's our first condition. Our second condition, and, is where the crypto type equals, and we can say here now Litecoin. But we have a third one because the value has to be more than 5,500. Now we did a calculation. So this calculation has to be repeated because we cannot refer back to a temporary field. So I'm literally just gonna copy this. Again, our Litecoin is on the outside, so over here, and amount times plus plus is bigger than 5,500. Right. Let's compile this. I probably am missing something. It's hard to see. Oh, glory. Somewhere there's a... here. Let's see. What is it saying? In the bottom, my image is in string and real. Yes. Of course. So we have to convert this into a string. So float to string, our Litecoin, just because we can. Let's copy that into our final one over here as well, and we're using another bracket over there. Now it will run, and we will cross our fingers and hope. Of course, it was a crypto type. I look at this, I have misspelled something again. We'll just go back. Crypto type. There we go. Probably another one. No, it is working. Great stuff. So it's these small things that's so easy to make a mistake. And then you just go back. Delphi actually helps you in specifying it. So we misspelled crypto type, and we forgot to convert our real into a string because the SQL itself is a string that needs to be assigned to our SQL property. Right, that is question 2.1.4. I actually want to quickly go back to question 2.1.3 because I said I will show you an alternative solution to this. So instead of using the rmonth string to int as line, we can actually, I'm going to take this one away. We can actually say here long months names, and now we say we have to int to string as line. So we can, let's see, there's a bracket missing somewhere over there. So we can use the long months names of let's just run that of the input of the integer. Of course it's not working. Long month name, maybe is it a string value that it requires? Let's quickly see. No. Long months names, birthdays in long months names. I don't want to take too much time here now. It's an array 1 to 12, so it returns a string. So this one has to be string. There we go. I think I did it the wrong way around. String to int, and we do it like this. Let's quickly see. No. What is it telling me here? A missing operator or semicolon. Where are we missing? I'm missing this. I'm probably gonna come back to this one just now. I just have to look that up, and I don't want to take too much time. So I'll come back to this just now. While I'm coding, I probably think of the mistake that I've made. And I'm not going to repeat the entire paper now just for that. But let's quickly continue with question 2.1.5, where we have to delete our REPL. So the keyword is here delete from TBL members. It's just I have to collect my thoughts now because my thoughts are racing about that long month state. But very important in the paper, if you encounter a problem, just continue with the question, and then you will be able to come back from it. So delete from TBL crypto, and now we have to have a condition there, because else we are deleting the entire table, where crypto type equals, and we want to delete our REPL like that. Okay, so if we run our code, obviously let's just comment this one out. Now we can run our code regardless. Database changed. Now it displays the wrong things. If we want to display question 2.1.2, we actually have to click on our button, but we are not asked to do that, so we don't have to code it in this case. So we're just deleting from, and then if you press the button for question 2.1.2, we see the correct data. Then the last question, question 2.1.6, we have to now update our table. So the update, and what do we want to update? We update our table, TBL crypto, and then the update comes with another keyword called set. So we update, and we're setting our amount equals amount divided by 2. So we are halving our amount, and then we have a condition. We only want to do that with our crypto. So where crypto type equals Bitcoin. And if we run this, we can click on the button database changed. Again, if we now, you see all the Bitcoins are now halved. If we select now, I think it was question 2.1.2, you will see now the display says 29.2 instead of 58.4 that it displayed previously. Okay, let's just quickly go back to our question 2. Over here. I commented it out. Let's see what we have done wrong. You see, because this is an array, so we need the square brackets after our, now I've lost my place, go up, there we go, long month names, string to int s line, square brackets, where we don't need the round brackets here, just like that. Now let's see if we run this. Yes, it runs, and this was question. There we go, we enter month, and again we display January. So I apologize about that. So I was missing the square brackets for our long month names method. All right, let's go over to our second tab, the Delphi code, question 2.2.1. I'm also going to page over to the next page where we are asked to display all the details of the person we specify. So we have some code that is provided. We already, we're working with the TBL members. It's already opened. The cursor is already put into the first record, and we have initialized a surname with the surname out of the edit. And now we have to write our code. And I would simply say we have to ask a question now. If TBL members, and we specify the surname field equals S surname, what do we want to do if that equals surname? And we will now have to display underneath each other. So we you can either build a string here. They give you a S string as a variable, so we have to initialize this. S string we initialize that to an empty string, and we can simply build our string now, and later we can ask the question, is the string empty or is it not? You can actually do this without using a string. I will show you the alternative just now as well. So S string is the following. So the first thing is TBL members, and we have to display the name, which is name colon plus TBL members, and I think it's first name. Okay, close the string, plus I like to get there neatly. Okay, so now over here the second one is the surname that we have to display, TBL members surname plus and now we're already automatically getting there. We have to now display email plus TBL members, and I think the field name is actually called email, just like that. We'll just have to see, yes, close, and now we're also displaying the gender. So it's a lot of typing for 5 marks, but there were other questions that didn't require as much typing. TBL members, and then we are displaying the gender. All right, so that we assign that to a string, and we can now display a string. So you can see that we didn't really have to use a string because we could simply display it here as well. And we have to display it in, I think it's our rich output.lines.add, and then we'll say here s string, and obviously we are missing sorry, s string, and we are missing a semicolon on this side. Okay, so we can display that, and now once we found it, we can actually break our loop, because we don't need to continue to search because it is a unique record. And then else, you know, if it doesn't break, if it doesn't find, so we find it, if it's this, we do this, else we go to the next record, TBL members.next. So very important, if we loop through a data set, we have to go to the next record. And it goes to next, and then outside, now we have to look at all the begins. So here's the begin, let's do this, begin and end. This one is the while loop. So outside the while loop, we would now ask the question, if s string is not empty, no, if it is empty, right? If it's empty, then we are going to display red output.lines.add, and we can now say TBL members, no, sorry about that, s surname plus space, and we say the message was not found in database. All right. You could potentially also do it, you could exit here, then it because once this is displayed, we have found it, and we can exit our our procedure. The break itself will only break the loop. So if we run this now, let's see, the surname that was provided here in our example is Lightwood. Oh, I look at this. Good, I missed something. Over here we have to add a #13 plus in order to display it over various lines. So over here again, if I type in now light wood and I press the button, it now displays as the example given in the paper. We can test it on a different name as well. For example, Glamart. And if I write it now, the details of Glamart are there. If I would, for example, put in my surname and say Schultz was not found in the database. I should have bought Bitcoin once it was still very, very cheap. I would have been a rich man. All right. Now the last question for question 2.2.2, where we have to count the genders. So we would loop. This time the loop is not provided for us. So we would say while not TBL members, yeah, members.eof do begin. And now we have to ask the question. There's no shortcut through this. We literally have to say if TBL members gender equals male, then, and we are somewhere provided with, are we not provided with? So we have to actually, declare some variables here. I count males, comma, I count females, comma, I count flu, let's call it flu, and I count by. And then we'll also have I total count, or I total genders, something like that. You don't get marks, we don't award marks for the variable names per se. Just has to make sense for you while you're coding. And they are all integers. So, and what do we have to do with these integers? We have to initialize them. So I count males is 0, I count females is 0, 0, I count flu is also 0, I count by is 0, and our last one I count I total gender is also 0. Although this is not so important because we are not adding something to it, we're just in the end we're actually initializing I total count with the sum of these 4 counts that we have done. So if TBL members gender equals male, then we increase I count males. You can also say I count males colon equals I count males plus 1. Else, if TBL members gender, and if you like me are lazy to type, you could female male. You could also copy and paste this again. What is missing here? A bracket. Okay, then we are increasing I count females. Else, if, and now I'm going to literally copy this, else if TBL gender equals, and now I just changed the female to gender fluid, I believe. Let's just quickly see gender fluid. Yes, gender fluid. Then we're going to increase I count flu. Now there's only 4 genders in our database, but because something might be misspelled or there might be a 5th gender, we can't just do another else statement. We're actually going to say else if, and we ask again the question, if this time if it's binary or non-binary, right? It's a hyphen, non-binary over there, then we inc I count binary. All right, or I should have called it non-binary, but anyways, so here we are now looping through, but at this stage we are stuck in the loop because we have not gone to the next field. So now we can say TBL members dot next. So now we're looping through the data set and we're counting all the males. Now you could declare an array that would, where you would update the number of males, females, gender fluid and non-binary members, but I do think that this is actually the easiest way of doing it. Just increasing, we have the values already in here. Now, after we have looped through the table, we have to calculate the total. If, or actually, let's do that. Yeah, we can say I total gender equals the sum of all these 4 counts. So it's I count males plus I count females plus I count flu plus I count bi. And now we have the total, and we can compare it just now with our total members, whether it is 50 or not. So in this case, we want to display it now in our rich edit. So red output.lines.add, we say male, and if you look, it's neatly done in columns. So we're adding #9 for the tab, and then over here int to string I count males. Now we do another line, output.lines.add, and again I want to be as quickly done with this as possible, so I'm just copying. There are probably teachers that are going to slap my hands now, but I'm a grown man, I will take that. Female, male, and then over here we say I count females. Okay, that is that line, and then we do that 2 more times. So over here, instead of males, we're going to say gender fluid, and over here we are going to say non-binary, and then over here we will change this one to flu and this one to bi. All right, now we have displayed this. We still have to display an empty line, output.lines.add, just an empty line. And now we can ask the question, if I total gender equals 50, then we'll say red output.lines.add, and we can simply say here correct, else red output.lines.add, and we say incorrect. moment of truth, running our program, going to the second tab and clicking on question 2.2.2, and you can see here why is it incorrect. Somewhere I probably is gender fluid. I made a spelling mistake. So it's actually great. So it recognized that I made a spelling mistake with the gender fluid. So if we would correct that over here, gender fluid, how gender, where did I make the mistake now? See, gender fluid. Possibly, let's quickly see if I run this again. Maybe I didn't make a spelling mistake. There we go, I did. I don't know how, but it's fixed. So now you can see it displays correctly because the total counts to 50. Okay, I hope this gave you a good idea of how to answer question 2 of the 2024 September IT paper 1, and I will also be doing question 3 in another video. All right, thanks for watching.